Alright, you lot. Welcome to this week's Hey Scotty, where I take your questions and try to give you a straight answer with usual Yorkshire charm, of course. This week we've got cracking lineup. What's worst game I've ever played? Have I ever done out impressive in a game? Android or iPhone? And do you get pedicures? Yeah, you heard that right. But before we get started, don't forget to like, subscribe and all that bollocks. It helps the channel grow. Right then, let's get to it. Our first question this week comes from Silverbullet903021. Cheers, mate. Who asks, Hey Scotty, what's your favourite non-multiplayer game? I've hit a bit of a rut, not really interested in what I have installed, and I think my mental state ain't great. This week marks 6 years since my dad, grandma and grandpa passed away, and I just can't seem to enjoy games I usually play. I get bored easily. Mate, I really appreciate you sharing that, and I just want to say, I hear you. Losing people that close to you, anniversaries like that, it's rough. It's completely normal to feel off, and honestly forcing yourself to enjoy something you're just not vibing with, that's only going to make it worse. As for my favourite non-multiplayer games, I got a mix. On PC I'd probably say Beat Saber, because let's be real, I play that way too much. Over on Xbox, got a bit classic Sonic Hedgehog games, especially Sonic 2. But if I'm being honest, lately I've been more into TV shows and movies than gaming. Sometimes you just hit that phase where not really grabs you, and that's okay. I actually went through a time where I wanted to gaming at all, sold all my gear cause it was just gathering dust, and spent a fortune getting it all back later. But that break, it were actually good for me. I think it's healthy to step away sometimes, do something different, mix things up. When gaming starts feeling like a chore instead of fun, it's a sign to hit pause for a bit. So don't stress it, mate. Take care of yourself, do what feels right. And if that means stepping away for a bit, that's completely fine. What about you lot? What's your go-to single player game? Drop it in comments. Cheers for the question, mate. Really hope things start feeling better soon. You can always count on Pyro Friendly Arsonist 9195 to bring some good questions to the table. This week he asks, Hey Scotty, got a horror game you fancy? Well, mate, I am a massive horror fan, played loads of horror games over years, but honestly, not a single one's actually scared me. Not properly, anyway. Only time I ever reacted to a game was Fear 2. Not cause it were terrifying, but cause that little girl's giggles sent weird tingle down my spine. Not fear, more like excitement, ecstasy. Either way, it were a moment. But game itself, bit of a letdown, especially ending. Most recently, I've been playing Propagation Paradise Hotel, VR horror game with zombies. You might remember concept demo. I had it on channel a bit ago, one in Subway with giant spiders. Haven't seen any massive spiders in main game yet, but there's been some nasty beasties besides just zombies. It's definitely got some tension, I'll give it that. As for upcoming horror, well, I'll be playing Doom Dark Ages, but beyond that, nothing's really grabbed me attention. I'm still looking for that one game that actually gets me out racing. But then, how do you scare someone who don't fear death? What about you lot? Anyone into horror games? Have you played one that's actually scared you? Drop a comment below. Let's get a discussion going. Cheers for the question, Pyro. Always appreciate it, mate. Salty Junior 42 coming in with an unexpected one this week. He says, Hey Scotty, question from wife. Do you get pedicure? No, mate. No one goes near these crusty old feet. Absolutely disgusting things. I won't wish that job on my worst enemy. But cheers for the question. Right, my old mate Firkin L1 coming in with a tech question this week. He asks, Hey Scotty, very simple one for you. Android or iPhone and why? Right then, up until 2 years ago I were all Android. Then I got an iPhone for business purposes, and I hated it. At first, but after a few months I got used to it, and honestly it stopped bothering me that it were an iPhone. Fast forward to last month I were due an upgrade, so I went back to Android, and I hate it. Now I'm lost trying to get used to it again, cause I got so comfortable with how iPhones work. Now don't get me wrong, I'm not here to rip Android, I've been faithful Samsung guy for years. iPhone? Great for certain business tasks. Some businesses even require an iPhone for whatever bloody reason. When it comes to creativity, Apple's got edge. If you're creating content, Apple is where to go. But here's where Android wins. Gaming. There are loads of mobile games that are free on Android but cost money on iPhone. That's a huge deal. Now, Android still has most of the same creative apps I use. but some features are locked behind Apple exclusivity. Not a deal breaker for me. I can live without them. So answer to your question, mate, Android. Of course, gaming. I'll get used to it again. I mean, I have to. I'm stuck with it for the next 2 years. And here's a little fun fact for you. 85% of world's mobile users are on Android. Crazy, right? Despite how popular Apple seems, way more people actually use Android. And here's kicker. 80% of inner workings are an iPhone, made by Samsung. Yeah, let that sink in for some of you iPhone diehards out there. You're basically using an Android phone with Apple's iOS slapped on top. That's why all these so-called new and innovative features iPhones get, yeah, Android users had them 5 to 10 years ago, because Apple buys them from Samsung. I only know all this because I used to work for a pretty big mobile network here in the UK. But what about you lot? Which one do you use and why? Drop a comment below. Cheers for the question, mate. Proper good one, that. This is a good one from Connor Phelan 9825, who asks, Hey Scotty, what's the worst game you've ever played and why? Worst game I've ever played? Mate, is there even such a thing? Well, I could say Black Ops 6, but that'd be too easy, wouldn't it? Bit of a cop-out. Let's think. What game have I actually given a fair shot and just didn't like? You know what? I'm going to have to say Helldivers 2. Now, before anyone loses their minds, hear me out. My son bought it for me, thinking, cause I'm a massive Starship Troopers fan, that I'd love this game. He were very wrong. We played almost 3 hours together, just that one session, and I ain't touched it since. I were bored to tears. See, I mostly hate open world games. There are a few I've liked, but Helldivers 2? Just another generic fetch quest grind, wrapped in a different costume. Go here, fetch this, shoot that, rinse and repeat. Boring! If you were expecting something older, then I'll throw in Balls, 3D fighter from back in Mega Drive, Genesis for you Americans, and SNES. Now that were a very bad game, at least in my opinion. What about you lot? What's the worst game you've ever played? Anyone actually play that infamous E.T. game on Atari back in the day? Let us know in comments. Cheers for the question, Connor. Solid one, mate. Now, your boy Ricky123 is an interesting one this week. He asks, Hey Scotty, what's most impressive thing you've done in a game? Well, one time I completed Sonic Hedgehog in under 25 minutes, which, let's be honest, probably ain't all that impressive to older generation. I think most of us could pretty much do that with our eyes closed. Honestly though, I can't think of spectacular. I guess it depends on what you find impressive. Personally, I don't get blown away by much, other than actually beating a particularly difficult boss. But let's be real, those of us on older end, we've been dealing with tough bosses for years. It's just what we do. That said, one thing did impress me kids. Pulled off a 500-meter snipe on a tiny daughter of player on Fortnite during a 12-hour charity stream. Wasn't even trying. I was just scoping ahead. Saw someone building up side a rail, took shot. Never expected it to land, but it did. Is that impressive enough? I don't know. Like I said, I don't really get impressed by these things. I just play for fun. And to win, that's it. What about you lot? Any impressive moments in gaming? Share them in comments. Cheers for the question, Ricky. Good one, mate. And that's going to do it for this week's Hey Scotty. Cheers to everyone who sent in the questions. Proper good ones this time. But don't let conversations stop there. Join Discord. Follow me over on X. And if you fancy supporting the channel, check out memberships. All links are down in the description. Smash that like button, hit subscribe and leave your comments and questions below. I might just feature them on channel. I'll see you next time, you magnificent.